What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Let's Travel. I'm here with my guest, Andrew Witherspoon, serial entrepreneur that is involved with improving the human experience. Today, we will be discussing his two nonprofits, the Chicago Furniture Bank and his other one, the Honest Junk Company. All right, Andrew, thank you for coming on today, and let's get to it.
Yes, sir.
Again, you know, the vibe here is to just really get to the heart of what drives everyone on a daily basis. And for anyone, it can be different things. And let's touch on your background first. So you are originally from St. Louis, Missouri, correct?
Yeah.
So just wanted to ask what it was like growing up in this city.
Born and raised St. Louis, in the city, not the county, which is a very proud distinction I like to make. Grew up close to my school. St. Louis is nice, Midwest, unlike the East Coast, when we make eye contact on the street, we actually say hello. We'll actually help strangers, which is kind of a crazy coincidence. That was never happening on the East Coast. But it's nice. Everything is cheap in St. Louis. It was nice.
Yeah, for sure. And so you decided to kind of change up the weather and the scenery here by moving from the Midwest up to the Northeast by going to UPenn, and you actually are a Wharton Wharton alumni as well. So what were the biggest challenges for you when adjusting towards a more colder, more city vibe of a lifestyle and also area in Philadelphia?
The biggest thing is I didn't know the East Coast. All my classmates, all my close friends, basically, if they weren't from Europe, they were definitely from like New York, or they would say they're from New York and be from New Jersey. They had a familiarity and a closeness. The biggest thing is definitely just, homesickness. It's not just a quick train ride or pickup. To see my family is definitely, my dad had to get on like a 2.5-hour flight. St. Louis is also not a hot destination. So like tickets and whatnot to get back and forth. It's not necessarily cheap. Can't just do it really on a whim necessarily. So that was an adjustment. The weather was brutal. But I live in Chicago now. So honestly, I take that. I took Philly weather for granted. It's just rainy, used to that. I gotta say the best adjustment was the city pace. Yeah, people walk faster. People walk with a purpose on the East Coast. Now I live in Chicago. I definitely, St. Louis, you take all day to get down the block. But definitely appreciate the city pace, even though it was more exercise than me running to class. But definitely do that. But my brother went to Wharton as well. So I was kind of accustomed to the type of people who were there. And then, I'm kind of a no BS, when it comes down to be serious type of guy. So, the frankness of the East Coast definitely was an appeal, and I met it.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely do agree, man. East Coast is the best coast. I'm born and raised on the East Coast, so I might be kind of biased. But definitely everything moves a lot faster in the Northeast. For me, bought my first Parker when I actually came up to the Northeast. So, I was out here struggling at first when I came up to Penn and Philadelphia, but that's cool, man. And, kind of going deeper into your Penn experience, actually. So you actually, were very motivated early on to really start your own thing. And, starting a nonprofit, right, is not very easy to do and even an easy decision to make. So, would be curious to hear from you what originally led to your decision to start a nonprofit.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I don't know, not necessarily the happiest story. I lost my mother to brain cancer when I was actually a month before I sent in my application to Penn in the schools I applied to.
Wow.
Her and my father instilled in me that they were federal public defenders for the Eastern District of Missouri. They instilled in me that the importance of a second chance, that regardless of financial well-being or financial situation. Everyone should have access to the same opportunities. It's no illusion that, I definitely have had privilege, significantly more privilege than my parents were ever blessed with growing up. And they were able to financially make sacrifices to put me in a position to succeed. Me having, severe dyslexia, not learning to read till I was 12 years old, being able to afford to send me to, I would say one of the premier learning disability schools in the nation at Churchill Learning Center and School in St. Louis. And so that really dawned on me. And then also, my senior year in the fall, one of my closest friends who went to Wharton as well from St. Louis, one of my best friends, Henry Rogers, he passed away that semester, and it hit me hard and really just put me in a crossroads where, God forbid, if I pass away, I want to make sure that my mother's legacy and her sacrifices and how grateful I am for that live on, but also just really hit hard. I could die. It doesn't really matter what I do. So with that kind of made me, I wanted to make a change. First thought I was maybe going to do TFA, maybe try to pursue TFA and be a teacher, because I think it's important as a black man to be able to in a classroom and stand in front of primarily minority students and, be an example. You can't get into Harvard, you can't get into Stanford, people can call you retarded and stupid, but you can't achieve great things. But I landed on the more business-focused nonprofit. So me and my classmates, we applied for the President Engagement Prize at Penn as seniors, working to develop, the furniture bank. So while I'm not a financial banker or investment banker, you best believe I'm a banker. So that's kind of how it got down to the nonprofit. And then we just made this proposal, the three of us together. We didn't invent the wheel, but we definitely had some more entrepreneurial and Whartonite perspectives on the traditional nonprofit that kind of makes it more unique than I would say a lot of other proposals, and just quite frankly distinguishes us from other nonprofits in Chicago.
Yeah. And so you and your co-founders, James McPhail and Griffin Amdur, all came together your spring of senior year of May 2018 and all decided, let's go start this, right? Let's go start the Chicago Furniture Bank. But, we'll be curious actually for some of our listeners who actually don't exactly know what a 501c3 nonprofit is. Could you explain briefly how it is structured?
Yeah. So, when you say 501c3, right, everyone's going to recognize 501c3 means if you give me money, you can write it off as a charitable donation on your federal tax return, right? That's the whole 501c3. There's tax incentives for donations. In addition to that, how it's structured, it's the non-stock entity. In 2.5 years, we're the second largest furniture bank in the world. I got 34 employees. Nice. We just bought, a $1.7 million warehouse. The 501c3, I don't own stock in it. It is a non-stock entity. When I leave, I'm not sharing equity. There's not going to be an IPO. How it is structured is a non-stock entity registered with the government and different states for charitable purposes. We are to improve lives and provide social services for people in the United States, specifically people in Chicago and the greater Chicago metropolitan area, to provide them with services that they need. Then obviously, we have to prove this on a regular basis. There are filings and things like that. Just like if you're a for-profit, there's different filings. We get audited every year based on how big our budget is. We now got, $2 million annual operating budget. So, we're being audited every year. Our finances are being checked by third parties on a continual basis to make sure, rightfully so, we're not making money. People aren't taking money. When we are receiving donations for specific things, that money is being tracked and used accordingly.
Got it. Yeah. So it definitely seems like there's a lot of checks and balances that go along with being a 501c3 nonprofit. It seems like the government's just trying to make sure that when you start one, you're actually starting it for the right causes, right?
Yeah, definitely right. So, we're not paying taxes for a reason, and the government, rightfully so, wants you to show that, Mm-hmm. I wish we're probably still paying the same effective tax rate as Amazon right now, but that's a different thing. That's a different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole nother conversation in itself right there, for sure, for sure. But cool. So going deeper into you and your co-founders, James and Griffin, starting the Chicago Furniture Bank. So why Chicago, right? So what particularly about Chicago supporting housing community really drew you guys towards that city in particular?
Yeah, well, my co-founder and one of my best friends, Griffin, he's born and raised from here. Throughout college, I visit him in Chicago every year. That's kind of where it's peaked. I'm born and bred from Missouri, from St. Louis.
Gotta represent.
Gotta represent from the Midwest. So we both wanted to come here, and then both, examining furniture banks. This immediate Chicago city does not have a furniture bank that provides delivery. There is one sharing connections out in the suburbs, but it doesn't provide delivery in the city. So the need was there. Our other partner, James McPhail, he's a city boy. He's from Rye in New York.
Hey.
It's kind of a no-starter. Trying to have a furniture bank in Manhattan or something like that is just real estate. It's a no-starter. So that's kind of, we assess the need. The need is here, and then two of us are from the Midwest, and we wanted to come back. So that's kind of it couldn't have fit perfectly, to be quite honest.
Yeah, man. I mean, it definitely seems like that you guys all really came together at the right time. And so we'll be interested to hear more about the types of household furniture and accessories that is offered through the Chicago Furniture Bank that is received and also given to families and individuals in need.
Yeah. So, I mean, right, our whole thing is 4 walls doesn't mean it's a home. We need furniture for it to be a home. This is something you should be proud of. If you're going from the streets into a home, into an empty apartment, there's really no difference. You don't really feel attached until, it's something to be proud of. We give everything. Beds, couch, armchair, dresser, kitchen table, occasional tables and nightstands, kitchen chairs. We give it all. Also including kitchenware set, plates, bowls, glasses, kitchen utensils, pots, pans, etc. We give it all. We furnish it all. It's between usually $1,200 and $1,800 worth of thrift store value furniture based on Salvation Army. Everyone who gets an appointment are entitled to that. You don't have to take it all, but that is definitely what you're able to do.
Got it. And so it seems like that you guys have a wide array of options to just provide families with the household items and accessories and furniture that they, need at the time. And so that's great. It seems like if you need anything, right, the Chicago Furniture Bank just has your back. So that's good.
And then furthermore, and just in terms of how you get it, right, we are not open to the public. I've made partnerships with over 400 local social service agencies. So as they're receiving support and receiving services, they are referred through them. All of our partners have access to our online appointment scheduling website link. They see the live availabilities. And through, these social workers, caseworkers, and representatives, that's how the appointments are made. So the need is verified, right, before an appointment is made.
Got it. So it seems like that to gain access to the actual furniture that you guys hold, that you have to, go through the referral network, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Which 400 agencies. Go to a nonprofit, go to a clinic. They if they don't know about us, just ask a different person there, because 400 is a lot.
Yeah, I mean, if they don't know about y'all, then they're doing something wrong. I mean, it's pretty hard to not know the Chicago Furniture Bank if you're in Chicago. But and so you and your co-founders, James and Griffin, were all actually winners of the 2018 Penn President's Engagement Prize established by the current president, Amy Gutman, in 2015. To give a bit more context of the significance of this prize is annually awarded to Penn seniors who are designing and pursuing opportunities for the work of the betterment of humankind. And so this prize actually is $100,000 grant given by the school to each group or nonprofit or business, right? And so what was it like during your senior year in the spring to win one of the most prestigious awards at Penn?
Definitely, I woke up on a Friday night So after Thursday night to a call from Amy Gutman. Hadn't had a job, hadn't really applied anywhere else. So it was definitely a great call. My second immediate call was my dad to let him know that I am employed and that we did win. It truly is amazing. The president gave it's $100,000 given in 2 installments of $50K, and then we each get living stipends for the year. We signed contracts stating that $100K is for the furniture bank. It cannot be used for us, rightfully so. We're Wharton, we're Penn, we know contracts. But it was definitely exhilarating. We kind of had to hit the ground running as soon as possible. Before winning it, we had to get Penn provided us with great pro bono lawyers at Decker, which is a top class law firm that helped us form the incorporations, do the 501c filings. We didn't get accepted 501c3 until March of 2019. So an entire year after we got accepted, which was definitely a little hard for fundraising, but we still managed. That $50K allowed us to buy a truck, and that was about buy a truck and rent a warehouse, which were important things. So early on, it was just the two of us. We graduated, I think, May 19th or something, May 19th, 2018. We moved to I moved to Chicago July 1st. 2018, May 19, 2018. So 2 months later, moved to Chicago, opened our doors July 16th. And then in September, we were able to be in the Chicago Tribune and were found by who we refer to as the Godfather, Mr. James Mabey. And him and his wife, Kay Mabey, made a tremendous investment in us and what we were doing in our proposal. And that allowed us to hire staff and buy a second truck. Since there, we haven't looked back. We furnished over 4,100 homes in 2.5 years. And again, we have 34 employees now, 7 trucks, and second largest furniture bank in the world.
Yeah, that's crazy, honestly. Just after 2 short years of just committed hard work. And that's great to hear. And so after you and your team received the $100,000 grant from Penn and you moved to Chicago, right? And you said that you bought a truck as well as rented a warehouse, right? But, from there, right, where did you go? How were you and your team going about setting up key relationships that would be essential to the Chicago Furniture Bank's continued operation?
Yeah, so 3 of us, it was specialized. As you know, I'm a people talker. I'm a people person. I have a pretty high EQ. As well as I definitely have an abundance of patience. So, I took the road, I've made those partnerships with those 400 local social service agencies and programs. It was really just getting the word out. We're not anything if we can't dial up the need and the demand. So it was twofold, right? We got to get the word out about picking up furniture donations. We need an inventory of furniture for people to pick up. But then we also need to have partnerships with organizations that are servicing people moving into new homes. There's very much, constant communication, reaching out, coming in, getting a list of 30 nonprofits for me to just call, get someone on the phone, talk their ear off. Very much sales. Getting the word out, building these getting the door open, and then building those relationships, getting those MOUs signed, those linkage agreements, and getting all of that, as well as logistics, calling people, getting the word out, emailing people, hey, we pick up donated furniture. We go in your home because Salvation Army doesn't go in your home, and Goodwill is for profit. So, just getting the word out. There's another service out here, kind of just banging the door, doing that. So basically, to get it started, to get the word out and get the roll rolling, it's a lot of sales. You're calling, you're getting hung up I'm not going to say 10 times more than pickups, but you're definitely getting the phone hung up a lot of times. And a lot of blank emails that'll never get responded to. But it's just really just persistence, and you just got to do it, as well as, you got to get business cards, got to get flyers, you got to make flyers. I went to Wharton, I didn't write, other than my art history minor, I didn't write anything. So being able to write these compelling things, being able to do X, Y, and Z, very hard, didn't know. We launched the Honest Junk Company in February, so knew exactly what it takes. But, it's very much just starting a business. Yes, it is a 501c3. What we look at it is, this is a business, created a business. You got to sales. You got to pitch it. If you're not passionate about it, and that doesn't get communicated over a phone call, why is a person you just called up who doesn't know you gonna care? It's kind of how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely makes sense that to really sell someone on your idea and vision, that you have to be the one to believe in it the most. And I guess in that process, right, it's going to take a lot of grit and a lot of thick skin to be able to, pitch your idea, right, that you have been working on for months and now for years, and have people, say, I don't know about that, or hey, no, just come back to me later, right? So definitely, props to you, for sticking it through and for really choosing to travel that path and to really stick with it. And you actually mentioned earlier the Honest Junk company that you founded in February 2020. So this again is a 501c3 nonprofit.
Junk removal. It's glammed up, but yeah. So where that kind of came, we're going in homes. Where it came up was we worked with some great teams from Compass Chicago. And basically, we're already going in homes. We're picking up furniture. There's a lot of other things. And when you're moving, it's always stressful. We're about to move to a new warehouse, so it's always stressful. You want the least amount of people to do the most amount of things. Okay? We'll go, Chicago Furniture Inc. will go, and we will pick up only furniture and household items, but the other items. So we figured we can monetize this. Under our 501c3 umbrella, the Honest Junk Company will pick up anything and everything, exactly like 1-800-GOT-JUNK, but our value proposition is we have the established partnerships with a whole bunch of charities throughout Chicago, CCRX for, household, not household, office supplies and art supplies, Rebuild Exchange for any type of construction commercial, Salvation Army, St. Vincent de Paul, clothes, etc. So we're able to go in, we'll take absolutely everything, we'll charge you market rate, but it's still the tax deduction, and then we will distribute any reusable items to those charity profits, to those charity partners. So all in all, we are able to repurpose, reuse, redistribute about 80% of all items that our junk removal service picks up, with only 20% actually going to a landfill. So that is our, it's the Honest Junk Company. The color's green because we are redistributing and we're trying to keep it out of the dumps. But that is what we very much consider the superior value proposition, opposed to the college guys who haul junk and the 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Yeah, so it really seems like with the Honest Junk Company, that's kind of a twofold type of strategy, and it's a way to fund the Chicago Furniture Bank, which is your original nonprofit, and as well as a way to really limit the waste that goes on with furniture and how people can throw furniture away, right? But definitely there's a lot of things out there, household accessories, furniture items that could be going towards people who actually really do need them. And maybe they might not be in, pristine new condition, but it still functions, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the main goal was, right, all proceeds go to funding the furniture bank. We're trying to be as sustainable as possible. I mean, it was kind of unheard of. We're 80%. Last year we were 80%. So our operating expenses were covered. 80% of our operating expenses were covered by total revenue of both entities. This year we're hoping to get, we're trying to get to 100%. We just purchased a building through cost savings and expansion. We're hoping to even be, net positive, which would allow us to make further impact, further programs. But this is all business minded, Warden, right? We learn to go and pitch ideas and value propositions based on, KPIs and other things. We're not just there like, hey, this is what good we're doing. I can't generate a return. The return that we generate is, every dollar you give me an 80% cover rate, every dollar you donate, that's generating $4 other dollars, right? Mm-hmm. So that is our value proposition, because I'm not getting you a return in your wallet, but we are able to for every dollar you get, it's going to essentially $5 worth of value to this entity, and this is where we're going to go. We have an ambitious 3-year plan to get to 5,000 homes a year by 2024.
Yeah. And
while being, you know, sufficient. So I wouldn't, you know, I don't have to go on, you know, I don't have to call you, harass you like Penn loves to do. Even if you just graduated, hey, do you want to donate to the fund? You know, I don't have to, we don't have to use dollars doing that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're doing enough just providing people and families with the essential items that they need for everyday life. And that's great. And to your point about knowing KPIs and being able to really talk more so on the data and statistics of the actual business itself. Yeah, that's definitely something that is very important, right? I mean, like you said before, that it's important when you're pitching someone on your business and you're really trying to explain to them the value that is generated from it, right? It's one thing to just explain that in qualitative terms via just words and phrases and, you know, like the whole marketing side of just selling your idea, right? But it's another thing to go deeper and actually show them that you've done some analysis on your end and you really know what is going on throughout the entire operation through and through. So that's great that you are very strong and also very knowledgeable in that area as well, too. Mm-hmm. And, you know, kind of going a bit deeper into your experience running both those nonprofit organizations, right? So over the past year, right, COVID came to the world and ruined all types of vibes. Yeah, it came and hit hard, man. It ruined all types of vibes. I mean, I was going through my junior year spring. Some people were abroad. Other people, you know, had jobs that they unfortunately lost, right? Other people unfortunately lost family members. I mean, COVID in general has just done this world dirty, man. I mean, it's actually pretty ridiculous. But, you know, in the world of business, right, it's also created a seismic shift in business practice all over the world. And would be curious to hear how the presence of COVID-19 affected the operations of the Chicago Furniture Bank or the Honest Junk Company in your own experience.
Yeah. Furniture is a basic need. While it hit, we're a little different. You know, we're just like, oh, we have to close stores because of liability. You know, if anything, you know, our partners are like, we need you guys more than ever. As a result of COVID, we've more than doubled in size. Just frankly because, right, you need to stay inside, the whole stay-at-home shelter. How do you do that if you don't have any furniture? If you just got a new home, you know, you were formerly homeless, you're most at risk of getting COVID, and you're sleeping on the floor. How are you going to do it? It's not possible. You're not going to stay inside.
Yeah.
Come on. So, so, you know, we have an amazing team here at the Furniture Bank. You know, myself, Griffin, and Riley Bruce, you know, all of us, we were only closed for 3 days. It took us 3 days to convert our entire in-person system to a virtual system, allowing individuals being placed and being housed to pick out their furniture and all their housewares virtually, you know, using Zoom, using a video call. It only took us 3 days to do that. We reopened. And we started rolling. We started doing it. When the CARES Act came through, they launched the Expedited Housing Initiative in Chicago to shorten the placement time between homelessness and being housed to less than 30 days from over 90 days. We have an agreement, you know, with all Chicago in the city to furnish all of those homes. So that's, you know, currently it's scaled up. So that's over, you know, we're doing over 150 of those a week. We're getting like a month. We're getting like 5 to 8 requests a day, and doing that Expedited Housing Initiative. And then with Honest Junk, you know, we didn't do any pickups for a while until we were following CDC. I'm not an expert. Don't get me wrong. I know I know my finances. I know crazy random facts, and I definitely know how to run and start a business. But I'm not Dr. Fauci. I'm not a scientist. So, you know, with working with that and with Department of Public Health, monitoring those, making it as safe as humanly possible for our teams, we relaunched and we started going into homes. So the Honest Junk Company, you know, boom, we were still doing it. And actually, we won a lot of market share from Salvation Army and Goodwill, who were not going in homes, because understandably so because of COVID. But, you know, with discussions, following the news, monitoring any and all health announcements, and always in constant communication, you know, with my team. You know, there's never a position. If I wasn't coming in, my team will not come in. It's as simple as that. If I don't think it's safe enough for me to come into my job before everyone else, I'm not going to have any of my employees. Griffin and I are not going to have any of our employees in the building. So, safety was a priority, but after we could reasonably assure that and had the support of our employees, of our team, we relaunched. And honestly, quite frankly, won a whole bunch of market share because everybody needed to get things out. Everybody stayed home. Everybody was cleaning, doing those do-it-yourself tasks, clearing out space. And who are they going to call? They were calling us. So, yeah, in our first year in 2020, we were able to do about $500,000 to $550,000 earned revenue through the Honest Junk Company that we launched. Yeah, we launched it in February.
Yeah, that's great.
So in less than 10 months, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that's pretty crazy just how you were able to really take ownership and really take advantage of the opportunities that presented itself due to the pandemic. And that's something that I do think is very necessary overall just to implement in anything with life, right? If there's an opportunity and for you, if you're positioned in the right manner to take advantage of that opportunity, then why not go ahead and chase after it, right? I mean, if you fall flat on your face, at least you tried. And yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
And it's definitely got to act with urgency, right? It's a little different. I'm very emotionally invested in this. I'm very passionate about helping people. When COVID hit, I had an apartment. It's not like, I wasn't worrying, but it was, I relate with our nonprofit partners on a daily basis. I talk to them I don't have a work phone, because I gotta save money on the phone bill for the nonprofit, and B, I already lose my one phone enough. So everyone has my line and they call me, and the need was just so evident. We could not afford to go down. We could not afford to go virtual. Unfortunately, can't move furniture via Zoom. It was very critical for us to get with our team and to launch, right? We didn't even really launch. We just, I wouldn't even say we put pause, right? Because we only closed for 3 days.
Yeah, exactly. And, speaking more on challenges, right? So as a young entrepreneur running two businesses, right? The Honest Junk Company and the Chicago Furniture Bank, I would be interested to hear more about some of the biggest challenges and biggest lessons that you learned and faced along the way of really building out these two nonprofits.
Yeah. I think like the biggest, it's just really just the change, right? While I should go by Andrew or Drew now. I do not let anyone call me Mr. Witherspoon. That is my father. So let's just make that very clear. But the difference is running a business, co-running the business with my partner and friend Griff. If you have idle time, there's something you're not doing. Right? As a business, you have to continually. This isn't, unfortunately, you don't get an agenda with responsibilities. I have to do it all. I need to support my staff. I need to hire. In college, I'm starting an exam at 2 a.m. at Huntsman, Penn closing for wellness at 2 a.m. I was starting my paper at 2 a.m. and I'd be done at 9 a.m. and my classes started at 8:30 type of thing.
That grind, man.
Yeah, so it's not just getting a list of things and just accomplishing it and chilling. It is always looking, how can we improve? How can we improve? Where, especially for me, who does the finances for both entities, that number is looking a little too high. Regardless of what the number is, all my numbers look too high on the expense side. On the expense side, all the numbers. So it's always just continually being hungry, trying not to burn out, which is very, very hard. But it's just you always have to be hungry. It's just the biggest challenge. Early on, that first summer, I only took 2 months in between the start. It was more lackadaisical, but getting to that launch, and then also, as a founder, I'm interacting with every stratosphere. Okay, the college kid, you're not really talking to anyone except your professor, and you're really like, hey, I don't have this. I'm going to a wedding. I'm not going to be in class. I'm talking to CEOs of organizations that have budgets that are 20, 30 million. All right. And I'm also talking to pastors and churches and things like that. So the whole professional tone and trying to build that rapport is definitely completely different than what I was exposed to at college or in any internship. That was a big change as well. So, and then as well, managing. managing people, being responsible. Majority of my staff, if not almost all of my 34 employees are older than me, older than Griffin and I. So, you know, just being able to manage people, being able to engage my team, get the buy-in, you know, as glamorous as I make it look in my sweatshirt, moving furniture is not sexy. There is nothing sexy about it. You know, my goal is just to make sure we're not the Comcast guy. We're not giving you a 4-hour window and coming an hour after the window. But, you know, there's just so many different things. And managing and staff when the job is inherently super hard and labor intensive. These are just skills you do not learn at Penn unless you had a startup and you were doing it on the side. You just do not do that.
Yeah. I mean, for me personally, right, even just moving furniture into my room is already hard enough. I can only imagine trying to move, you know, heavy wardrobes, couches, tables, right, that probably can't even fit through the door. Yeah. So it's a whole process.
If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah,
there's a will, there's a way.
Hey, you know, couldn't have said it better than that, man. That's definitely facts. That's definitely facts. And, you know, to discuss more of the future of both the Chicago Furniture Bank and the Honest Junk Company, right? So where do you personally see these two nonprofits 5 years from now?
You know, they're still going to be here. They're going to be here. We're moving to our standalone location, which is huge for us. We're here to stay. There's debate, you know, it'd be in a perfect world, we wouldn't even need to exist, but unfortunately that's not the case. But we are here. We specialize in furniture moving, and this allows our partner organizations providing frontline, vital, social services to them. They don't have to worry about it. They don't have the means. They can just refer to us, and we're able to expedite it the most efficient way possible, based on some studies and comparable sizing compared to Toronto. We do believe that the need for this service is between about 5,000 to 6,000. So mark my words, about 5 years we'll still be here. The Furniture Bank and Honest Junk will still be here. We'll be better than ever. We'll definitely expand the team. And we will be hitting that 5,000 mark. Again, you know, based on just the Ward Night ideals, the entrepreneurial ideals and fundamentals that it was founded on, it's going to be self-sufficient. It's going to be operating. It's going to be that, and it's good. Yeah. So it'll definitely be here.
Yeah. So, you know, obviously stay tuned. The Chicago Furniture Bank and the Honest Junk Company got some big plans ahead. Right. I mean, I don't see it going anywhere either. I mean, like you said, the need is still there. People need a place to live. People need things to put in their homes. They can't just live on a floor. Right. So, you know, I'm definitely excited to hear more about the continued growth, and definitely all the props to you for really taking it on and taking on the challenge, you know, with a lot of enthusiasm and grit. And, And before we wrap up here, just wanted to briefly discuss health and wellness. And so obviously running two nonprofits is obviously a very time consuming, very, mentally exhausting activity, right? And process. And would be curious to see for you, what are some certain things, maybe habits or routines that you do consistently to help keep you grounded?
It's a good question. I'm very, people accept, I'm a people person. I'm very outgoing. I feed off of others. So I do try to surround myself with friends, whether it be talking. I'm a terrible texter. But just, being with friends and trying to just let loose and just try to do things that are not as high up as, I'm not really competitive because when I'm in here, I got to do it. Definitely exercising. I definitely need, if you can't really tell, I definitely need to get back in the gym and then, sleep. But I mean, all in all, I'm a workaholic. I got to do it. I mean, I'm my own boss, right? You start a company, so you work more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I would definitely say, everyone has their different things. Some people it's reading. Me, you'll never catch me reading a book. But I keep updated on the news and I do my other interests. I do. You got to prioritize your me time and your interests. You can't just always. Yeah, I mean, burnout is real. I mean, I took my first actual vacation. I took more than 2 consecutive days of PTO for the first time since November of 2019 last week. So
Wow.
I work a lot, and when I'm in the office, I work. I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, I'm here till 8 p.m. on my phone. Like, no, there's work to be done. But you got to rest. You got to be able to do it. I personally enjoy watching reality TV and terrible shows, but each is different. But you definitely got to be able to do that and isolate some time.
Yeah. Yeah. And definitely having time to yourself is very important, right? And for everyone, it's different, right? The same thing that works for you is not going to work for me. The same thing that works for me is not going to work for anyone else. And it's definitely important to really find that balance. And like you said, right, you're a grinder, as you know me too, I'm also a grinder, right? And there can definitely be times when, like you said, the burnout is real and get a bit tired of just the things that you're doing on a day to day. But if you do take the time to yourself and really take the time to figure out what just works for you to keep you grounded, to keep your mental state at ease, then, by all means, you got to do it because it keeps you sane. But cool. And this next question actually is a question that I ask all of my guests and would be interested to see how you personally define success.
That's a good one. I have personal goals that I want to hit, at the 30 mark and by the 40 mark. But I don't know. I think it's very subjective. It's all different. It all is based on your internal values and what you want to achieve. I have lofty goals. I'm a grinder. I'm going to shoot for the sky. For me personally, I would just say it's a success is a reflection of what you truly value and have you been able to obtain it, use it, working your hardest. But at the end of the day, I don't want to be in a life where I say, I could have done better. Given my circumstances, right? There's trade-offs, right? You can be at a certain time and be successful. It really is all different, but success, I would say, to not give a pinpoint answer would be, based on your values and your work ethic and sacrifices. Right? Success is going to be a bar based on all of those. Could be a sliding scale. Are you above that bar or are you below it? If you're below it, no. Right? You can be successful and you can be unhappy. And then that doesn't necessarily mean you're successful. You can be, you can essentially, in terms of other people's opinions, be unsuccessful, happiest man in the world, biggest family. I don't want a big family, but biggest family, whatever. And you could be, and by your own interpretations, you are a very successful man. So that, that's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's actually pretty interesting. What you were talking about beforehand, right? About being successful, right? Being wealthy, but being unhappy. And I do think that there's kind of a fallacy out there that if you gain a lot of attention, wealth, right, then automatically that might lead to happiness, right? But no, I mean, happiness is very much dependent on what matters to you, like you said. And again, it's necessary to really find that balance and to really figure out for you what does success mean. Yeah, go ahead.
And then true to that, right? Like you make it to the NFL and you spend every single cent you had, and by 30 you played 4 years in the league and you were skint broke. Are you successful? You made it to the top. But
yep.
Are you currently successful and you can't even afford, a car? So it is it's to other, and success is not, super corny, got off Instagram, success is not bought, it's rent, right? It's rented. So at any moment you can be doing very successful and you could be like Martin Shkreli in prison. To give another obscure reference, but right, you have to keep working, you have to keep doing it. Just because you get to the top, you can fall right back down.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, success is rented, right? I mean, you got to earn it every single day. And again, right, it's really just dependent on what matters to you. And individually, right? What matters to you is going to change, and it might change over time, right? It's definitely normal, I think, for someone's version or idea of success to change as they gather more information about themselves and also the world around them. So, definitely appreciate your answer there. And before we wrap it up here, is there any way that our listeners and viewers can actually reach you and your two businesses, the Chicago Furniture Bank and the Honest Shunk Company, online, through the web or social media?
Yeah. You can find my email at, chicagofurniturebank.org, because we're a nonprofit, we're not a company. And then also, Honest Shunk, that website is honestshunkcompany.org as well. And then we do have a Instagram for Chicago Furniture Bank, and it's just at Chicago Furniture Bank. And then also you got, Andrew Witherspoon. Find me on LinkedIn. If anyone wants to talk, whatever, I'm always happy. But yeah.
Yeah, cool. And I would definitely put a link to that in the show notes as well. But there you have it, guys. Andrew Witherspoon, serial entrepreneur, interested in pursuing the furthered benefit and improvement of the human experience. Thank you again for coming up on the podcast here on Less Traveled to chop it up for a little bit. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to Less Traveled on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts if you want to listen to more stories about young hustlers pursuing their passions.
Thank you, man. It was a pleasure to be on here. Thank you.
Yep, for sure.